Live from the betting capital of the world. Giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast, here to go over UFC Vegas 86. Joe Pyfer versus Jack Hermansson. We are back in the UFC Apex, coming off our first winning week of the year, where we snatched up a positive 1.32 units last week at UFC Vegas 85. We went 2-0 on our bets. Like I said, man, going forward, we're going to be really stingy and really selective with our bets. We sprinkled 2 half-unit shots on some plus money bets, hit them both. Molly McCann fight not to go the distance, hit that the first round, and then Randy Brown's fight not to go the distance, hit that as well in the first round. So a couple easy no sweat bets last week, looking to keep it forward this week. And yeah, man, so a little extra tidbit for the show. At the end of the show, you're going to see a live reaction from me. Right now, I currently have 2 pretty big NHL bets. My NHL bets are significantly larger than my MMA bets. And so right now I'm recording the show, not looking at the score, right? I'm trying to avoid any updates or anything. So at the end, you'll see me pull up ESPN.com and look at the scoreboard, and we're going to see if the New Jersey Devils won or if they lost. I also have money on the Vegas Golden Knights, so we'll see how far along that game is going by the time I finish recording. So yeah, man, stay tuned to the end. So without any further ado, let's get right into the fights. And in the main event at UFC Vegas 86, we have a middleweight fight between Jack Hermansson and Joe Body Bags Pyfer. Jack the Joker Hermansson comes in with a 23-8 record, currently sitting as a plus 210 underdog. He is 35 years old, 6'1", with a 77.5-inch reach. He's fighting Joe Body Bags Pyfer, who comes in with a 12-2 record, currently sitting as a minus 250 favorite. He is 27 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach. So right away, Joe Pyfer will be 8 years younger in this fight, and I'm picking him to win this fight, man. But at minus 250, man, that is a risk. Because if this gets past the second round, I'll be worried if I'm sitting there with $250 on Joe Pyfer, man. Jack Hermansson, way higher level of strength of schedule, has fought way level of competition at a higher level. I mean, this guy has more UFC fights than Joe Pyfer has professional fights in general. I mean, but the thing is, Jack Hermansson has taken a ton of damage in his career. He's actually coming off a finished loss against Roman Dolidze, who we saw last week. And he's 35 years old at middleweight, guys. I just think that Joe Pyfer will eventually catch him and knock him out in this fight. It's just at minus 250. That's a lot of juice to pay on a pretty unproven fighter so far in the UFC. He's still young in his career, still showing improvements. Bro, minus 250, that's a lot in my opinion. So for me, my best bet in this fight is Joe Pyfer by knockout at plus 185. To get off that minus 250 money line and pick, what I think is going to be his most likely path to victory in knockout, I like it, man. At plus 185, I like that bet for Joe Pyfer. And if you don't want that, because what happens to me, man, I have terrible luck with method of victories, right? Like a guy's like a knockout artist, he'll go in there and get a submission. I'm like, I bet the knockout, right? So I hate doing specific types of wins. So if you want to be safer, you can take inside the distance at minus 185. And to me, that's still a lot of juice. But I just do not see Joe Pyfer winning a decision in this fight. If this goes to decision, it's going to be all Jack Hermansson winning rounds 3, 4, and 5. Jack Hermansson in this fight just has to withstand that first 2 rounds, because I still have questions about Joe Pyfer's cardio. We saw him, start to slow down against a lower level fighter in Abdul Awasaka Hassan. And bro, he can't afford to get tired in this fight. Jack Hermansson has gone 5 hard rounds with people like Sean Strickland, and he's a pretty well-rounded fighter, man. He's very good and slick grappler. We saw his wrestling match with Hamza Chimaev, and he held his own in that wrestling match. And yeah, man, on the feet, I do give the advantage there to Joe Pyfer. But like I said, man, this guy's experience has way more experience on Jack Hermansson here, a lot more high-level competition. But I just think that the young guy, Joe Pyfer, the young prospect, 8 years younger, 2 months power on him. I think he knocks out Jack Hermansson and finishes that fight via knockout. And up next, this is my favorite fight on the entire card, guys. We have a featherweight fight between Dan Ige and Andre Touchy Fili. Dan Ige comes in with a 17-7 record, currently sitting as a minus 170 favorite. He is 32 years old, 5'7", with a 71-inch reach. He's fighting Andre Touchy Fili, who comes in with a 23-10 record, currently sitting at plus 145 on the money line. He is 5'11 with a 74-inch reach. So a pretty big size advantage here for Fili, man. He's going to be towering over Ige in this fight, no doubt. He's going to be 4 inches taller and have a 3-inch reach advantage over Ige. But man, I love Dan Ige in this fight. If you like Andre Fili to win this fight, if you think he's going to win as an underdog in this fight, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you were seeing this fight, because this is my most confident read on the entire card, guys. I'm going with Dan Ige to win this fight because, in my opinion, he has a ton of paths to victory in this fight. For one, Andre Fili is on short notice. I'd never like betting guys on short notice. And Dan Ige's had a full camp preparing for Leroy Murphy, who's a very dangerous and dynamic striker. And also, guys, look up Andre Fili versus Shane Shapiro on Fight Pass. I've seen this guy get submitted in 60 seconds by legit grapplers like my homie Shane. And I think that Dan Ige is going to finish this guy. I think that Dan Ige can knock this guy out and then snatch up a sub. So for my best bet in this fight, Dan Ige inside the distance at plus 220. Now, Dan Ige, is very durable, right? He has 7 professional losses, and they're all decisions. This guy is like the Hawaiian chin, all that stuff, right? So a Dan Ige decision plus 160 isn't out of the question. I don't mind that bet at all. But, bro, I think that Dan Ige will find that chin of Fili. We saw Nathaniel Wood, who's a pretty relatively small guy compared to Dan Ige, crack Andre Fili and hurt him bad, put him down. And, yeah, man, I'm super confident in Dan Ige to, for one, win this fight. But for two, to win this fight inside the distance. For my best bet for this fight, Dan Ige inside the distance at plus 220. And this is where the fight card, and this is only the third fight we're going to be talking about, just falls off the rails, man. What are we doing with this fight on a main card in the UFC? Just absolute madness. So, yeah, we have a fight between Ihor Potieria, the duelist, and a UFC debutant in Robert Bryczek. Now, Ihor Potieria comes in with a 20-5 record. He is currently plus 140 on the money line. He is 27 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. He's fighting Robert Bryczek, who comes in, like I said, making his UFC debut with a 17-5 record, 33 years old, 6 foot tall, and his reach is not listed. But man, 33 years old, right away making a UFC debut. What are we doing? When I went and watched tape on this guy, it's actually kind of fun to me when I don't know who people are and I get to sit down and watch their fights. It's fun because I have no idea what to expect. But when you watch this guy fight, man, this guy is just putting people to sleep early. This guy does not get extended in his fights. He doesn't get all the way through 3 rounds because he's going forward, watching people down and throwing heavy bombs. This guy can crack. One thing I know about this dude is that he has crazy power. I do question the level of competition he's been fighting, and I do question his grappling. But bro, Robert can absolutely crack. But so can Ihor Potieria. But that's the thing with this fight. A big red flag. Ihor Potieria is, again, on short notice like Fili. And he's also going down a weight class. So the fact that he's going down a weight class would for one, be like a little bit of a red flag to me in general. But the fact that he's on short notice and going down a weight class, and I'll be honest, I don't think he's that good to begin with. I have my worries for him in this fight. So for me, I think Bryczek wins this fight. I think he knocks out Potieria in this fight. But it's just one of those things where you won't see me, you won't find me laying minus 160 or anything on this fight. This is a super unreliable fight between 2 unreliable guys. You got to stay away from it. I don't know how you can feel confident with a pick either way in this fight. My best bet, I have it listed here on my notes, is to pass. The best bet you can make on this fight is to pass and not bet it. But if you're a degenerate and you need to bet this fight, Ihor Potieria round 2 at plus 900 is absolutely wild. Shout out to my boy Lou Bet you. He put me onto this bet when I watched this stuff because, to me, Bryczek is finishing this fight in round 1, and his money line at minus 160, round 1 is like plus 120. So you're not getting a ton of value for him to finish this fight in the first round. And the over/under is under 1.5 at like minus 200. So the books definitely think that someone's going to get cracked here early. And if Ihor can just withstand that first wave, in my opinion, he should be the one looking better with better gas in that second round. Now that he's dropped down a weight class. I don't know, man. I have a ton of questions, too many red flags, too many question marks, not knowing what's going to happen in this fight. You got to pass, man. Give me Bryczek, knockout. And like I said, if you have to bet that, take a long shot on Ihor Potieria round 2. Up next, we have a lightweight fight between Michael Johnson and Darrius the Beast Mode Flowers. Not the Beast Mode, just Beast Mode. I messed that nickname up. Michael Johnson, yeah, UFC vet. We all know about this guy. 21-19, coming in as a minus 140 favorite. He is 37 years old, unreal, 5'10 with a 73.5-inch reach. He is fighting Darrius Flowers, who comes in at plus 115 on the money line. He is 29 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. Now, this is a super interesting fight because flat out, period, point blank, Michael Johnson is better at MMA than Darrius Flowers. Period. I don't care what no one has to say. He is a better fighter. He has fought the better people, being the better people, has a better career. He's a better skill set, better striker, and pretty good defensive wrestling. He actually has some pretty good offensive wrestling early in his career. It's just that he's 37 years old, and I'm worried about that chin, dude. He took a horrific loss in his last fight against Diego Ferreira, where it was like honestly one of the worst knockouts we've seen in a while, where he got knocked out, his feet went together, he went stiff, and he just flopped over. And if I thought he was actually looking good up until he got knocked out. So, dude, he's 37 years old. He's had a ton of wars, a ton of damage. I mean, this guy is 13-15 in the UFC, just madness. It's just crazy to me, though, because Darrius Flowers is not that good. He actually had some moments of success against a pretty good fighter, in my opinion, in Jake Matthews in his last fight. But, bro, there is nothing that I've seen from Darrius Flowers that makes me want to put my money on him. If I'm going to bet on Darrius Flowers in this fight, it's because I'm fading Michael Johnson, not because I am trying to back Darrius Flowers on his way to the rankings or anything. I can't go with Darrius Flowers. I'm going Michael Johnson. My pick is Michael Johnson. But for my best bet, again, I have it on my notes, is pass. I have pass, laugh my ass off listed as my notes. But if you have to bet, Michael Johnson moneyline is my pick. At minus 140, there's no way I'm laying juice at minus 140 on Michael Johnson to win this fight. But, bro, Darrius Flowers for sure is the worst opponent Michael Johnson has fought in a long time, many, many years. Darrius Flowers is not on the same level of, the UFC fighters as the fighters that are beating Michael Johnson. So, very weird fight. I just can't go with the 37-year-old. We have a 9-year age gap in this fight. 8-year age gap going toward Flowers here. I mean, give me Michael Johnson money line, not touching that fight, and you shouldn't either. And after that, we have a pretty exciting fight, a rematch, actually, for a fight that was rebooked. I believe this fight got canceled because Petrosyan got sick, right, on fight day, I believe. But right now, let me find the odds. We have Rodolfo Vieira coming in with a 9-2 record, currently sitting as a minus 120 favorite. He is 34 years old, 6 foot tall, with a 73-inch reach. He's fighting Armen Petrosyan, who comes in at minus 105, 33 years old, 6'3", with a 71-inch reach. Now, this has been a pick'em, and it was a pick'em when it was first originally scheduled, but a tad bit of money has now been coming in on Rodolfo Vieira, pushing him to minus 120, like I said. Bro, I'm going with the technical underdog in this fight, I guess you could say. I'm going with Armen Petrosyan to win this fight. And it's funny because when they first fought, my pick originally was Rodolfo Vieira. And I just obviously like the jiu-jitsu from Rodolfo. We all know Rodolfo, ADCC champion. This dude has crazy submissions, crazy grappling. But not the best takedowns, not the best ability to get the fight in the area where he wants it most. So that's definitely worrisome. That's actually not rare for a lot of guys to be really good at jiu-jitsu, but not good at wrestling or grappling. But he's fighting Armen Petrosyan, who is a very slick kickboxer with absolutely horrible takedown defense. He has a 36% takedown defense here in the UFC. He's getting taken down a lot in his fights, and he's showing no resistance to the takedown. So obviously can see Rodolfo Vieira having a lot of success trying to get the fight down. But in the open mat, I feel like Armen Petrosyan is being able to defend. It's just that along the cage, when he does get put in the clinch, he probably will get tripped up here and put on his back. And if he spends a lot of time on his back against someone like Rodolfo Vieira, he's going to get submitted, man. He's definitely getting his back taken on the way up and get tapped out. But I think that Armen Petrosyan has the way better cardio in this fight than Rodolfo Vieira. We've seen Rodolfo Vieira multiple times in the UFC get tired, especially toward the end of that second round, the beginning of the third, to where if Armen Petrosyan is fighting someone that's tired, I think that he can actually finish Vieira in that third round. So for my pick, I'm going with Armen Petrosyan to win this fight, and my best bet is Armen Petrosyan moneyline, because I don't want to get cute with a finish or a knockout or anything like that, because I do think that he's going to win the fight, and I'm obviously not getting plus money at minus 105, but I still think that's a pretty good price, man. So give me Armen Petrosyan to win this fight, and I'm going to go with a decision. And in the featured prelim, we have a fight between Trevin, Giles, and Carlos Prates. Trevin Giles comes in with a 16-5 record, currently sitting as a massive plus 210 underdog. He is 31 years old, 6 foot tall, with a 74-inch reach. He's fighting the UFC debutant, Carlos Prates, coming in as a minus 250 favorite. He is 30 years old, 6'1", with a 78-inch reach. So a 1-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage for the UFC debutant in Carlos. Now, I think Carlos wins this fight. Don't get me wrong. I think Carlos wins this fight. I think he has all the tools to win this fight. But you won't see me betting minus 250 on a guy making his UFC debut against someone like Trevin Giles. I don't think Trevin Giles is that good. I know he's a police officer and I respect the force and everything, but I think he's going to get worked in this fight. I think Carlos Prates is going to finish this fight, but I can't rely on that because we see it all the time. We see UFC debutants come in, they have really good regional tape, right? They're just knocking everyone out, looking like $1 million and doing their thing. And then they get a step up in level of competition, and they're a fighter that's used to getting a lot of finishes. And once you give them a tougher level of fighter, they tend to start winning a little bit more decisions, right? And I worry that Trevin Giles is going to wrestle a lot in this fight. That's the one way he can win this fight. If Trevin Giles goes out there and try to utilize a grappling-heavy game plan against someone like Carlos, I think that he can win this fight, but I think that Carlos is just going to be doing way too much damage on Trevin. We've seen Trevin cracked a lot of times in his career, I should say. 16-5, he's been finishing all 5 of his pro losses. I think that Carlos Prates finishes him in this fight, but like I said earlier in the video, I hate getting cute with like a knockout or a submission prop. I'm just going to go with my best bet in this fight. Carlos Prates inside the distance at -155. We can come off that -250 money line, bring it down a little bit to -155. But I'm not betting that either because, like I said, man, we have a fight between a guy that's pretty unproven. I mean, super unproven. He has 0 wins in the UFC yet. And I understand he's looking good, has really heavy hands. And as far as actually hit points, so I will say this. I don't like his striking defense. His hands are really low. Not really low, but they're actually lower than I would like them. So, man, he's not some sort of blue chip, undefeated guy like where I'm looking to back like all the time. But he is good. He's not like a scrub or anything. Man, I'm not high on Trevin Giles. I'm pretty high on Carlos. I think Carlos wins this fight. Carlos inside the distance at -155. Up next is a fight that I did zero study on because this is a late notice scrap. This fight was just booked this week, actually. A super weird circumstance here. I do know one guy here. We have Timothy Kawamba going up against, I'm going to say his last name, Oki. Oki comes in, and this is the guy that is legit. This dude, Oki, can crack. I like this guy striking. He is very fast, very dynamic, mixes it up to the body, and he is quick, man. I really like the hand speed on this guy, Oki, and he was going to have a pretty easy fight in his original opponent, Timur Hazovic. Now he's getting Timothy Kawamba, who, this is wild, guys. Timothy fought on, like, Friday. I'm not exaggerating. Like, last Friday, he fought. This is going to be his second fight in 2 days. He was actually here in Las Vegas fighting for Tough Enough, and he got the win. And like I said, guys, there's a lot going on this week. I haven't got enough time to actually sit down and watch Timothy fight. But I do know Oki is a very slick striker. They probably honestly are going to get a knockout finish here for Oki. Like I said, super red flag with the whole short notice thing for Timothy. Second weight cut in a week. That can never be good for your brain. Give me Oki knockout. And I know zero about Timothy. And up next is a fighter I know a lot about. One of my favorite fighters on the entire roster. We have Loma Lookboonmee going against Bruna, Brazil. Lookboonmee comes in with an 8-3 record, currently sitting as a massive, guys, -290 favorite. She is 28 years old, 5'1", with a 61.5-inch reach. She is fighting Bruna, Brazil, who comes in with a 9-3-1 record, currently sitting as a +235 underdog. She is 30 years old, 5'6", with a 65.5-inch reach. So yeah, that's not an uncommon thing. If you look at the tail of the tape right there on the screen, a size advantage here going for Bruna Brazil. She has a 5-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage over Loma. But that's not rare, guys. Loma, the thing with her is she's super, super small. She's very short and very small in general. And so all of her opponents always have a size advantage over her. But she's clearly the better fighter in this fight without a shadow of a doubt. To me, Loma is nowhere near the same level of striker as Bruna Brazil. Bruna Brazil is coming off a close fight against, what's this girl's name? The Irish chick. Shanna Bannon. We actually had money on Bruna Brazil in that fight. I thought Shannon Bannon was one of the lower level fighters ever to sign in the UFC's women's division. And she stinks, guys. She is an IG model. And so I backed Bruna Brazil in that fight. I was super confident. And she lost around in that fight. It's absolutely crazy. And that was a 15-minute striking fight, guys. Loma Lookboonmee is going to kick the shit out of Bruna Brazil. She's going to kick her, like physically kick her in her legs to the body, and she might kick her in the head and knock her out. But, guys, this is gambling. We're gamblers. -290 for Loma Lookboonmee in this fight, I have to say, is outrageous. That is crazy. That line is wide. That line is just insane. So she fought Elise Reed in her last fight, where I max bet her, guys. I had a max bet on Loma Lookboonmee, 5 units on Elise Reed, because I thought she was going to mollywop her, and she did. She actually got her first submission win ever, and there was moments in that fight where she was getting hit by Elise Reed, and I was stunned. I couldn't believe how much striking Elise Reed was getting off in that fight. But, bro, Loma Lookboonmee has powerful, thudding, low calf kicks. She was marking up Elise Reed bad. Elise Reed's super pale, so that had, that she got screwed there. But, man, Loma got her back taken in that fight, and that's the one thing that worries me in this fight. If you see right there on the screen, it says that her gym is Loma Lookboonmee Muay Thai Gym and Bang Tao MMA. But the thing is, I haven't seen any Bang Tao posts from her or from them. So I'm wondering if she left her gym. Let me know in the comments if she's left Bangtan, because that's a huge deal to me. The reason why I liked her so much is because Frank Hickman, one of the brothers at Bangtan MMA, would always post about her. He would always talk about how good she is and how much potential she has and how she's improving, right? And he was really high on her. And so I was, taking attention. I was like aware of like, okay, who's this girl? Like, let's see how she goes. And then now nothing, right? And the Hickman brothers are actually really good wrestling coaches. That's how they are. That's their expertise is wrestling. And Loma Lookboonmee has been working with them. It's not surprising to me that she looks good wrestling and submits to Elise Reed. But now she's not with them. So now I'm wondering, oh man, like who is she training with? Who is she getting coached by? Man, she's talked about depression before and fighting that. To me, though, I'm fading Bruna Brasil. Like, I do not like Bruna Brasil. I know I bet on her last fight, but that's because her opponent was even worse. Bruna Brasil got absolutely mollywopped by Denise Gomez. Got knocked all over the place in that fight. And this fight obviously will be having a lot of moments in the clinch. And from there, I think Loma Lookboonmee will be able to utilize her trips. She has really good outside foot trips to get her fights down. And from there, I think that she's going to be able to elbow Bruna Brasil pretty bad. And on the feet, like I said, man, I think that Loma Lookboonmee is just going to be styling all over Bruna Brasil, making her go on the back foot. But at minus 290, guys, I'm going long on this fight. It's just too wide. Best bet for this fight is Loma Lookboonmee, decision plus 130. But I wouldn't be shocked if she gets Bruna Brasil out of there. Up next is a terrible fight. We have Devin Clark taking on Marcin Prachino. Devin Clark comes in 14-8. He is currently sitting as a minus 230 favorite. He is 33 years old, 6 foot tall with a 75-inch reach. He's fighting Marcin Prachino, who comes in with a 16-7 record. He is currently plus 185 on the money line. He is 35 years old, 6'3" with a 74-inch reach. Now, I want to go with Devin Clark instead the distance here for my best bet, but I just can't. I don't think that he has a knockout power here to knock out Prachino clean on the feet, but he does have the grappling advantage in this fight, and that's why I do think he's going to win this fight. I'm going with Devin Clark to win this fight. My best bet is actually Devin Clark moneyline minus 230, but obviously I'm not laying that, right? Like, I'm not laying minus 230 on someone like Devin freaking Clark. No shot. I am passing on this fight. No way I can bet on this fight. Give me Devin Clark to win this fight, utilize his grappling, and win minutes that way. On the feet, Marcin Prachino probably is a better striker, but man, he's 35 years old, getting up there in age, and he hasn't looked good recently in the UFC, so I've never been high on Marcin Prachino. I'm decently high on Devin Clark. I think he's all right. These guys are pretty mid-tier level fighters. No reason to be betting this fight. Give me Devin Clark to win this fight via decision. And up next, we have Jeremiah Wells taking on Max Griffin. Jeremiah Wells comes in with a 12-3-1 record, actually. He is currently minus 150. He is 37 years old, 5'9", with a 74-inch reach. He's fighting Max Payne Griffin, who comes in with a 19-10 record, currently plus 150. He is 38 years old, 5'11", with a 76-inch reach. Now, I actually lied. He's actually plus 125. So all week, money's been coming in on Max Griffin. He's actually a very public underdog. A lot of love going for the underdog in this fight. And I am going to agree, man. I'm going with Max Griffin in this fight. And it comes down to him having the better striking here than Jeremiah Wells. Max Griffin can really get off as this fight goes. I think that Max Griffin wins round 2 and round 3 at a pretty high clip. I think that Jeremiah Wells is a very slick grappler. I respect his grappling big time. On the feet, he doesn't really throw as much. He's more content being a counterpuncher, which, is probably going to happen in this fight. Max Griffin's definitely going to be one going forward. And Jeremiah can crack, man. He throws heavy hands for sure. But, bro, he's getting up there in age. Both these guys are 37-year-old versus 38-year-old. The size advantage goes to Max Griffin in this fight. Not super confident. I'm not out here. I don't think I'm going to bet this fight for one, but I am going to go with the underdog, man. My best bet is Max Griffin plus 125 on the money line. Now, I think it's going to be relatively close, and I think that Max Griffin definitely is going to be winning the minutes on the feet. It's just the fact that he has to avoid getting taken down and getting held down. So, definitely don't want to get submitted in this fight. Jeremiah Wells, very slick, dangerous jiu-jitsu. Give me Max Griffin to win this fight via decision. Up next, we have Zach Pauga taking on Bogdan Guskov. Oh boy, a heavyweight fight. Zach Pauga comes in with a 6-2 record, currently minus 125 on the money line. He is 35 years old, 6'2", with a 76-inch reach. He's fighting Bogdan Guskov, who comes in with a 14-3 record, currently sitting at plus 100 even money, 31 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach. There's absolutely no way I'm picking or betting on Zach Pauga in this fight. Zach Pauga is a heavyweight with no finishing ability, absolutely wild. He couldn't even finish the chiniest dude in the UFC, Jordan Wright. Terrible stuff from Zach Pauga. And it actually really sucks because in his last fight against Bukauskas, he actually looked good. He actually winning minutes in that fight. It was just that he was reacting very badly to when he would get rocked. And that's the thing with me, man. Zach Pauga is, I don't say very chinny, but he has shown me to not be able to take a punch from him, man. I've seen people like Usman, rock him and finish him in this fight. And like I said, he was losing rounds due to the fact that he was winning most of the round and then lose certain exchanges that made him look like he almost got knocked out in his last fight. He's fighting Bogdan, who is not a very good or reliable fighter either. You won't see me fighting or betting on Guskov here at all. Pretty unproven guy with low-level competition outside the UFC. He came in and lost against Volkan Ozdemir. He really screwed me, man, because I had Volkan Ozdemir via knockout and went out there and got submitted. Like I said, I have terrible luck with method of victory bets. So I obviously don't like this guy. He cost me money before. But give me Bogdan to win this fight. My best bet for this fight is just Bogdan moneyline. If you can get plus money on him, I think that's a fair bet, man, because Zach Pauga, in all likelihood, probably doesn't finish Bogdan. Like he's actually good. Zach Pauga is decent. He's well-rounded, good striking, good wrestling, good defensive wrestling, but he can't really separate himself. He doesn't have knockout power. He doesn't have fight-changing power, and he doesn't have like mauling ability to get you down and keep you down. He's an old, ex-college football player that's now into MMA. And I don't know, man. I'm just going with Bogdan in this fight. I know he can crack. I know he has heavy hands, and I think that Zach Pauga's chin is just not there, man. And it's weird to be a heavyweight and not be able to finish fights. I just don't like that. So give me Guskov to win this fight as an underdog and to win via knockout. Up next, we have a fight between Hyder at Amil and Fernie Garcia, a short notice fight. Amil coming in with the undefeated 8-0 record. He is plus 185 on the money line. That cannot be right. He is 33 years old, 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. He's fighting Fernie Garcia, 10-4, minus 245 on the money line, 31 years old, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. Now, that is flip. Whoever made this graphic got it wrong. Amil is minus 200, and Garcia is plus 170. So that should be flipped, because at plus 185, they would get killed. A ton of money would come in on a plus 185 Hyder in this fight. But yeah, man, so this is a short notice fight for Fernie Garcia. Hyder Amil, a very powerful striker. He goes forward, and it's funny because he can get taken down. I've seen Hyder get timed and taken down multiple times, especially in his second to most recent fight. This Gibson fight, that fight, the way he got taken down super easy in that first round, that was very concerning. We actually finished it with a sick right hook in that fight. Very dynamic striking, very heavy hands from Hyder. But Fernie Garcia, he's gotten kind of screwed. That last fight against Nakamura, that dude's a high-level fighter, so he got kind of fed to get slaughtered in that fight. Had a decent enough fight against Brady Heistand before, but that's the thing with Fernie Garcia. We've seen him get out-wrestled many times in the UFC, but I actually don't think that that's going to happen at all in this fight. I think it's going to be a 15-minute striking fight, and I actually think that Hyder Amil finds that chin of Fernie Garcia. Fernie Garcia is super durable, don't losing decisions, never been finished, and to make her debut at 33 years old, I can't get behind it. I'm not paying minus 200 on a guy that has never won a UFC fight, who is 33 years old, and fighting a guy that is very durable, when he's a striker. So I doubt Emil is going to be out there trying to grapple in this fight. If he does, he probably have a lot of success. But give me Hyder Amil to win this fight inside the distance. I don't have the line up there, but for my best bet would be Hyder Amil to knock out Fernie Garcia, man. That Mexican chin's going to get tested in this fight for sure, win the small apex cage. And if Fernie Garcia was smart, he would try to wrestle in this fight, but I don't think he's going to. So give me Hyder Amil to knock out Fernie Garcia. And the last fight we'll talk about tonight, guys, before we get to the hockey bets, we have Daniel Marcos taking on Aoriqileng. Daniel Marcos comes in undefeated, 15-0, currently sitting at minus 250. He is 30 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach. He's fighting Aoriqileng, the Mongolian murderer. 25-11 on the record, plus 205 on the money line, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. Now, this is crazy, man. I gotta say, right away, I disagree with that money line. I think that the line is really, really wide. I think that Daniel Marcos, in my opinion, should be around minus 165, minus 150. So to see him at minus 250, ooh, man, I disagree. It's just that I cannot get behind Aoriqileng at plus 205. I like that line. Don't get me wrong. I like that line. I just can't get behind it because he is very hittable. Aoriqileng has very bad striking defense. He actually has not the greatest takedown defense. He definitely won't have to worry about that from Daniel Marcos in this fight. Daniel Marcos is a striker. He's going to keep it on the feet. And again, just like the last fight we talked about, if he was smart, he would try to take down Aoriqileng and make him think about it. I don't think he will. I think this will be staying at range. Daniel Marcos likes to pick his opponents apart on the outside circle and then kick him. Decent enough hands, decent jab. But Aoriqileng, man, I just don't like how hittable he is. I think that that's what is going to cost him in this fight. I think that my best bet for this fight is Marcos to win this fight via decision. I think he's going to win the fight. I think he goes all 3 rounds. I think he wins a decision. And that line is plus 120. So give me Daniel Marcos to win this fight via decision at plus 120. That'll do it, guys. Real fast, let's go through the whole card. My most confident pick is Danny Ige. I think he finishes Andre Fili. And if he doesn't, I think that money line is still fair. But yeah, like I said at the beginning of the show, guys, I have money on the New Jersey Devils and the Las Vegas Golden Knights, or actually the Vegas Golden Knights, sorry. And I haven't checked the scores. Vegas Golden Knights are going to be either finishing up the first period or, in intermission. So that should be still happening. Like the game should still be happening. But the New Jersey Devils game should definitely be finished. Let's see if I won or lost money. So let's see right here. I'm going to click scores. Let's go. Look at the Knights. Look at the Knights up 3-1. Let's go, bro. Hell yeah. You love to see that. And look at that. The Bruins absolutely pumped the Canucks. That's crazy. Damn. The Flames won. The Devils lost. Damn. Your boy just lost $135 on the Devils. That sucks, bro. Damn. Oh, that sucks. 2 goals in the third, man. Damn, they gave up 3 in the third. Absolutely terrible. But yeah, so at least we have the Golden Knights. So if the Golden Knights can win, we'll break out even. So hopefully they can keep that 2-goal lead. So that'll do it for the show, guys. You got a little glimpse in my hockey life and how I bet on hockey. So yeah, man, if you want my hockey bets, man, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Twitter. I'll be tweeting out my bets for this card probably tomorrow or Saturday. I've been doing a thing where I've been waiting till Friday or Saturday to put my bets in. I like to see the weigh-ins. I think they're super valuable. I think that you can learn a lot to see how guys how they weigh in, how they look on the scale, or even if they miss weight, or if you're iffy on a fight and one of the fighters misses weight that you're gonna bet against. I hate doing that. I hate betting on a fight where the other dude's heavier. So yeah, man, good luck to you guys on your bets this week. Hopefully we can start a winning streak, and I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.